back to my channel. Today we are doing part 3, the final part of our horse eye. We're going to start and yeah, just get all this skin and fur complete around the eye. All the other parts are listed down below. All you need is a black pencil and a white pencil, and yeah, let's get going. So we're going to start at this side of the eye, and all I'm going to do is I'm just going to map in some of these darker shapes that I can see. So it's more like the skin that I'm just mapping in here, and some of these darker lines. A bit of highlight going on there, so I'm just mapping in shapes. That's all you need to do, is just map in any shapes that you see. And I've pressed quite lightly, and then when I'm happy with where an area is, like this area, I'm just going over it a couple of times. I won't be able to erase this line very well, but that's fine. Okay. So coming into this area that we started previously, and it's darker here, so I'm just going to start applying a bit of a harder pressure. And remember, we're coming down into some fur strokes, so we will start getting a little bit of fur detailing going on down here. But all of this area is quite dark, so I'm constantly looking back at my reference photo as I build up the shape that we can see going on here. Okay, and then that dark line, let me just, that's that corner, so yeah, this dark line here comes down. Oops, sorry, that was my head hitting the camera. Just going to darken here, and then I get my white, and the white, if you remember, we're using the white to just help smooth out some of these areas, and also it lightens it up, gives us more depth to the piece. We can work on our values and building them up. Okay, now I'm going to make sure that my black is really sharp. We're going to start getting some little details coming in. So with the sharp black, I'm now going to just start bringing in some of this detail. So I want to make sure that I'm pressing fairly hard, and I want to bring in some hair strokes. So we're doing some nice long pencil, well, not too long. Marks there. So medium length, I guess, pencil strokes, just to start bringing in that detail. And then you can also take your white, I'm just going to clean the edge of mine again, and you can just sort of bring in, smooth out in between some of these strokes. You can see we're starting to get some nice detailing going on now. We're really going to start building up this eye. So again, I'm just going to use light pressure as I build up the direction that's going on here. That's dark here, sorry, let me just check where we are. That's that line, so this area here is darker, so I'm just gonna map this in. So if you ever need to just go in and map in some of your darker areas, you can, just kind of blocking it all in, making it easier to work from. Now I'm making sure at this point that I'm constantly looking back at my reference photo, and I'm using lines because we're building up some of the texture of the fur around this eye now. So that's dark. Right, we've got a lot of like little white highlights going on, so I'm just going to come in with my white, and I'm just going to add hard pressure. Just some of these like little white dots that you can see. They don't need to be exact, but we do have that little bit of detailing going on. I'm going to make sure that my eye has that effect. And we have a few little lines, so I'm not pressing hard. I'm just going to bring in a few little white lines that we can go over, and then I'll use my black again. And we'll just start coming over. Like so. Now I've got a light gap, or the paper gap here, because I know I'm going to, this area is going to be lighter in colour, so I'm not going to apply the colour there yet, just while we build up the areas around it. And again, I'm just using this white just to help smooth and blend a little bit. Not pressing hard here because we've not got a lot of pigment down on the paper and we want to build up that colour. And then I'm just gonna bring in some of those little details. So going around areas where we've got those little white highlights along here. Bit of a harder pressure with our black. So this tutorial has all been about controlling your pencil and your pressure to use one pencil to create all these tonal values. Okay, so I'm just going to start darken this shadow a bit up again, and then you can start bringing in that lighter pressure where you're going to have that highlight. And then again back to the white. Just going to use that circular motion with the white. Just in this middle section here. Okay, and then back to the black, and then it's again just about building up your details, building up your layers, and just building up all those finer details that you can see happening. Take your time, don't worry if you feel you've gone too light. Remember, you can always go darker. It's easier to go darker. Just back to my white while I just smooth out this. It's easier to go darker than it is to come lighter again. Okay, I'm just going to start darkening this area up again. So again, I'm just following the direction of that fur now. Start to see those fur lines. So I'm just going to start short pencil strokes, just following that direction. Okay, and then my white, So it's just, again, like I've mentioned, back and forth, just flick back and forth between your two pencils till you start building up the colours that you want. And I'm making sure that I'm always working with a sharpest point on my black. Okay, just like so. It is a slow process, as you can tell by other tutorials if you followed along with them. But we get there in the end. We just take our time, build up our layers. To white. Just going to bring in some detail here. And again, I'm not making it as accurate to the photo. I'm just using the photo as a guide, seeing where these details are, and then making this drawing my own. You can do this with your commissions, as long as you're following the direction. Obviously, you don't want to be changing markings, but you just want to be following those tonal values. Your first strokes don't need to be exact to your reference photo. I'm just going to bring that over here a bit more. And then the white pencil. So you can see, even with doing just two pencils, there's still a lot of pressure going on and swapping of the two, but we're still getting some really nice tonal changes. So I'm going to start increasing my pressure now, especially on this under part of the eye. I want this to be darker now. You can start bringing in, using the sharper point, some of these little eyelashes that you can see. But more importantly, that we're just darkening here. Oops. Okay, so I'm going to just, again, start bringing up that colour. A white pencil again. And then back to my black. Now I've got some whiter lines coming down here, so I'm just going to clean my white pencil again. A nice sharp point on it. And then with the sharp point, I'm just going to draw in those little white lines. I want a bit of a resist going on. Okay, so I've pressed with that white. You probably won't be able to see it, but I've pressed quite hard. It's going to give us a nice resist to work with. And then I'm just going to come in again with this black. Okay, so back to just building up the tones, building up the values and the detail. So I know it's not the chattiest of videos. It is just about building up what you can see. Just following that direction. And then you can come in with your black, your white for your blending. So I've also found, for a wildlife piece, a bird. And I think we may do that bird together. It was a piece I was going to do myself. But it's a white bird, and I think it will be a good one to show you how to approach a different kind of white animal. And obviously we'll have the texture of the beak. So I think we'll be doing that at some point as well. Again, I'm just curving my lines, creating that shape that we want, and using that white to blend. And then in with a black. We just need it to be darker. Okay. Right. So it's just a matter of building up all this. Oh. Fur detail. Remember, if you're sorry, you want to keep your pencil nice and sharp. It's quite a large eye, but obviously it's just the eye that we're doing, and the details are quite small. But we're getting there. Right, so I'm going to bring this fur around here. So we're just going to, once again, follow. Now normally we'd have that base layer down. So what we're doing is we're adding this very light layer of the black, and then kind of using that white to create the base layer, and then we're just working on top of that. This bit's just going to take a bit of time. Don't worry if you feel you need to rush. I'm just using a bit of a harder pressure here because I know this area here is darker. And I just want to make sure that that line is highlighted. And we can build up the detail. Oops. So you see I've done this. This is curving too much already. Too soon. So I'm just going to lift some of this. So you can see I've not used that lighter pressure because it's leaving a mark, but I can work on top of this. Just get my putty eraser. Just be careful using it over areas where you want the pigment to stay. Okay, so I need to, this is why I say you need to be careful and just watch what you're doing, because it's actually coming this way. And then it starts to curve. So already you can see just by doing the eye just how many contours there's going to be in a horse's face. There's so much around the eye itself. And you'll have all of that on the horse's head as well. Just bring in the white. bit of a harder pressure, but we are going to work on top of it. I'm not pressing too hard, but you can see the difference between where we've used this white smudge and where we haven't. Just going over all that. So that's like our base layer. So now I can work on top of this with my black using the sharpest areas. And I can just start to really build up this detail. So yeah, you will have to let me know if you've enjoyed this tutorial. If it's something that you would like to do again. Obviously I'd quite like to do it as a frequent focus tutorial. Because I think it's yeah, I think it's a good idea. It really makes you think about those tones. And you could also use your slice tool, maybe. We'll have to see. I'm not quite sure how it would work. Maybe the eraser would be better to create little extra details, but just gonna keep building up the layers. So I know it's quite quiet, but we are just building up some of these layers now. And again, I'm focusing on these tones. So I've got a darker contour here, so I'm just making sure I get that mapped in. Harder pressure to get that darker contour, and then we can just blend it outwards. And once you've got another layer in, back to that white. Now I'm using that white in the same direction that we've just done with that black. I think it'd be quite cool actually to do a load of eyes like this. You could have a whole collection of eyes staring at you of different animals. I would quite like to do some eye studies in colour as well, because when you draw this kind of scale, obviously there's a lot of detail in this eye. You would be able to get a lot of lovely colours going on. You can see as well, the more layers that we're adding, the more depth we're getting, and the more tonal differences we're building up. And I'm always using the sharp point of this black pencil, oops, to create that detail. Right, okay. So you see we start to really build up the colour here. And I'm just going to darken here. So we've got quite a shadow going on here. So I'm going to go straight in with that harder pressure. And just build up some of that shadow. Now, I'm not going to do a huge area around this eye, like on the reference photo. We are just focusing on the eye itself, really. So, just kind of going to build up a little bit of the colour here, the depth. Just going to blend that. So when I say I'm blending it sort of into this other area, we're just making sure that the transition between the tonal values looks quite seamless. So this is just about building up those layers and creating a nice seamless blend. Like we've got in the eye, where we've got some nice blending going on. Same with this fur. Especially as we're working with just this one shade. We haven't got a blue to blend into a purple, for example. And I'm just going to bring it up here a little bit. And then just going to blend it. It's really starting to get the shape of this eye coming together nicely. I think we may do this more often. We'll do like cat's eyes, dog's eyes, maybe some wildlife, so like a tiger's eye. And maybe we'll do like a series of black cat studies. So we'll just do the black and white pencil, and then maybe we can look at doing some in colour. But I should do more focus tutorials. It was something I planned on doing, but I've just not had the time. It's all about time. Okay, and I'm just going to bring that white in again. Hopefully you can kind of see that we've got this really nice transition going on. And you can use this white to pull some of that darker colour up. Obviously it's not going to blend it like pastel would, but you still get a little bit of blending, smoothing out going on. But yeah, I'm really happy with how this eye's turned out. Really happy. Just going to darken here. Obviously it has taken a bit of time. It's looking nice. Okay, right. So coming back around here, let me have a look. What have we got? That's there. So this is sort of coming this way. And we want it to go. This is coming down here. So this is like still skin around the eye. So I'm not focusing too much on fur detail here. We're focusing more on that circular motion to build it up. I'm just going to darken here. This is darker. And then I can just lighter pressure, circular motions, and build up this texture here. Back to the white. I have a lot of ideas for tutorials to come in the future, so it should keep us busy for the rest of the year. Okay, back with a black, and I'm making sure I'm using the sharp point to get this detail in. I'm going to build up. It's going to be quite dark once we build this area up. And I've increased my pressure as I'm building up some of these darker lines. It's going to be quite dark here anyway, so again, curving round here. Darken down there. Right. Just going to get my white and use the sharp part, and areas where I want it to stay quite light. So here, for example, I'm just going to drag that down a bit, and there's a few little white lines. Again, they don't need to be as accurate, just in the area. And then go back over circular motions with a black. Build up. Now where you've applied that white, I used fairly hard of pressure, not too hard, but you will feel that resist. It'll just leave it a little bit lighter compared to the other areas. I'm just going to go over this area a couple of times. And again, sharp point, just darken these lines. And the white, and I'm going to make sure I'm curving. And then dragging it down. So it's curving up and round here, and then it's coming straight down here. And then again, coming back in and darken. Okay, so we're gonna keep going with this same momentum, and I'm just gonna bring this dark line here. I'm just gonna map in where we've got this darker shadow going on. Then I've still got a sharp pencil, and this is going this way now. So this is going to be quite dark. But we're getting there. We are getting there now. And again, I'm just going to build up some of this texture, just darker lines. I'll go back to this white. See the how now though that we've, wow, that didn't come out as a sentence, did it? You can see now though how we've managed to just build up so much texture within this eye and around this eye, and it's all just with one pencil. So I know I use loads of colours within my actual artwork, and that's just how I see the world, it's how I see the dogs, it's all the colours I see. But you don't need all the colours. And if you don't see that many colours, don't add it all in. You really don't need to. And this is really just been as well to show, like, we can create something that looks realistic. And all we've done is use black. Doesn't need the colours. Colour isn't what makes it realistic. The thing that's making this look realistic is our tonal values. It's those darks being really dark and those lights being really light. That's all it is. Okay, I'm happy with this corner of this eye now, so you can see now how we've really started to just really get this form around the eye, and it's looking like an eye. This eye is now in place, it's where it should be. We just need to just build up a little bit more around the top, maybe a bit more around here, and it will be done. Okay, so we're getting, this area here is quite dark, but you can see these straighter lines, so I'm just going to build up the colour and the depth just by layering, and as I'm adding more layers, I'm just slowly increasing the pressure. So now I've got this darker line here, so I'm just going to press quite hard here with this black. Bring this white in again. So the white I've really just used for blending more than anything. A few little highlights, but mainly been for the blending. I may have to now do a piece just with black pencil. I think it will look pretty cool. And I'm just layering on top of this area again. Sharp pencil, bringing some more of that detail back in. So as we smooth it out with a white pencil, we can go back in with another layer. Just build that detail back up. And I can come in where I want with a sharp pencil and just create some extra details with the white. And then I've got this black again. I'm just going to add Okay, right, so I'm just going to keep bringing this. Just going to lighten some of that graphite line. Okay, so what have we got going on here? We've got some pencil lines here, so we need to bring this over here and it's going to come down. And then this is quite dark. Dark area here, so I'm pressing hard here because I know this is going to be dark. Got a bit of a shape going on there. And then again it's curving round here. Okay. And then it's just again a matter of just building up the tone. Nearly there. Nearly got a nice study drawn out. Really, like I said, I've really enjoyed doing this piece. It's really made me think as well about my tones, my values. It's definitely worth doing. So next month we have the cat, and then we're going to start doing some wildlife. Now I haven't decided in the order of the wildlife pieces, but I'm excited to get some wildlife tutorials out for you all. There's definitely going to be a bird and a fox. So yeah, hopefully we'll enjoy them. So I'm pressing harder here because it is in the shadow, but I'm just making sure I'm curving this line. Like so. Okay, so, and then I'm just going to go in with a white. Obviously we've not got much left to do, just building up some of these tones. But hopefully you've enjoyed this bonus tutorial. Don't know how often we'll get focus tutorials like this. I would like to do them more often, but obviously it's still a lot of hours put in to a piece like this. but I will try and do a few more every now and then. Okay, so we've got a nice dark area there, and I'm just gonna do the circular motions again here. So if there is any wildlife pieces that you would like to maybe potentially do let me know what you would like to have a go at, and if I can find a reference photo, I will try and get it done for everybody. Obviously I can't get to everybody's suggestions, but we do take votes in my in the Facebook group on what to draw, so do let me know. Okay, and now again it's just about details. I'm just going to sharpen this pencil, and with the sharp pencil I'm just going to come through and build up these details. Okay, sorry about the dog there. Right, so as we were saying, go back to the details. And I'm just building it up with the black. And this is why I've chosen a sharp pencil, so I can get some really nice fine points. Within this detailed area. And again, just following the shape that's going on here. And again, in areas that just need to be darker, you can just go in, darken them up. Okay, and then I'm just going to bring that white in. I feel like I just want to darken quite a bit more, but just going to bring this in again over the whole of this top part, and then I'm going to use a fairly light to medium pressure just to help darken it up, but not too dark. We still want to be able to see those details coming through. I'm going to come across here a bit more. Okay, and then we have got a few extra details going on, so I'm just going to bring them in. And then you can come back in again with that white. I'm not pressing too hard with the white, just going over the top just to help blend and burnish a little bit along here. Okay, nearly there. Close to this eye being done. So it's getting darker down here, so I'm just going to start bringing in that detail. And then I'm going to fade it out along there. Oops. Okay. And then coming back in with the black, and again just following that fur direction. Oops, sorry, I keep knocking that with my head. I need to learn not to get so close to the paper. So it's just like the process as before. Just going to build up some of this fur around the eye. And then I'll bring that white in. Now when I've done the first layer of the black, I'm not worried about the white being like fur strokes. I'm just using it just to create a nice base layer to work on top of. And then I can just keep working with the black, slowly increasing that pressure and just starting to really build up some tonal values. So I'm using circular motions here because it's not quite fur, but we've got that distinct line going on. I'm just going to use circular motions here. And then as we come down here, this is where we've got those fur strokes, and I'm just going to start building up the definition. So making sure I'm using the sharp point of that pencil as usual. I'm just going to build up texture. I'm getting good at guessing the amount of parts left in a piece. The 3 parts, about a 3-hour eye study with just 2 pencils, a white and a black. So it just shows that you can do it. Just got to be patient as usual. It is coloured pencils. But you don't need, this is why I say you don't need a full set of Polychromos or whatever set of pencils you buy in. You don't need a full set. Start off with a smaller set or individual pencils. Start off with a black and a white and build up from there. Because it's possible to create something that looks realistic without all the colours. Okay, so I'm just going to start coming in now. I'm just building up any areas that just need to be darker. in the corner. And these contours just need a little bit more definition to them. Yeah, I've got some little eyelashes, so I'm just going to draw in some little lines coming down here. Just to build up that extra bit of realism. Back to my white, and again I'm just going to press in quite hard. A few little white lines. And just blend in. And there we have it, guys. We've just done an eye study using a black pencil and a white pencil. So I hope you've enjoyed this tutorial. I hope you found it informative and helpful. If you have any questions, do leave them down below. If you haven't subscribed to the channel already, please do. And I will see you in next month's tutorial. Bye everybody.